Okay, so we will just be beginning in a minute or two. It's just about 6:03, and we will give some time for anyone else to join. In the meantime, I will be just putting up a poll shortly for us to understand, what level of study our panelists, our students are from, and so that we can get an idea of, what the audience is, so that we can address our webinar properly to the people who have joined. In the meantime, you will just be seeing the first poll while we wait for the students to join. And I have just launched it. So if you can see it on your screen, feel free to answer. It's a very simple question. What level have you applied for or are you applying for? Is it a bachelor's, a master's, an MBA, a PhD, or anything else? For those who answer other, if you are a parent, maybe you can indicate that in the chat. So because we would like to know whom we are addressing today, so that we can address our questions accordingly. Okay, so this is pretty much okay. So we do have some bachelor students. About 1/3 of 30% of people seem to be the bachelor's students, and we have otherwise, as expected, masters 65% and other as 5% so far. In case there's anyone else who has not answered. Okay, so I'm ending the poll now, and these are the results, right? Mostly we have an audience that is predominantly masters, as expected. We do have a few bachelor students as well, and we will be trying to at least address some of our content towards that. And we have someone else who has said other, so perhaps they're a parent, or if you want to indicate what your level of study is in the chat, we can help you out with that. Okay, so I would just like to thank you all from taking time out in your Sunday evening to attend this webinar, from decision to destination, finalizing your university and beyond, organized by Edu America. Before we go into what the webinar is, I would just like to take a couple of minutes to introduce the company, Edu America, what we do, and how we help the students apply to US universities. So we are an education consultancy based in Delhi. Our students are located all over India, and we help students apply to admission to our 100 plus university partners that we have. We have students apply to bachelor's and master's programs, and most of our services, including profile evaluation, university shortlisting, application assistance, and so on, are offered at no charge to the students. We focus on matching the students with the best fit universities, and we helped, as I mentioned, from profile evaluation all the way to the visa counseling, and we boast a stellar success rate of 98% in our visas. And at the moment, we are advising mostly for the US universities, and most of our students are graduate students, that is, who are planning to pursue master's or MBA. So the content of the presentation will be slightly more geared towards master's students, but there will definitely be information which will be helpful for everyone who is attending, regardless of the level of study. Some of you may have already worked with us for your applications, while some of you may be just joining us and letting us, trying to get some information about how you could finalize your university. And some of you might be applying for a later intake. So, that is also absolutely fine. This will be something that is beneficial for everyone. In the meantime, I would like to introduce the team who will be speaking with you all today. My name is Yash, and we also have with us Priyasha and Taranpreet. Priyasha Chadha and Taranpreet Chadha, who are not related to each other. They are the admission consultants, and they are the people who mostly will be at the forefront and dealing with the students and helping them and guiding them throughout the application process. And just a short information about myself. I have about 10 years of experience in the education industry, and I have helped students apply for universities in the US, Canada, and other countries as well. I enjoy working with students on all aspects of the application process, from essays, and I really like trying to understand the basic qualifications, the basic parameters that help students to match with their best fit universities. I studied at the University of Texas, Dallas, and now I am based in Delhi. And I would like to hand it over to my teammates who will be giving their own introductions.
Yes, thank you, Yash. Hello, everyone. My name is Taranpreet Chadha. Most of my students know me by the name Taran, and I've been working at EduAmerica as an admissions consultant. I have completed my bachelor's from the University of Delhi in sociology honors, and I went to University of Edinburgh to do my master's degree in sociology itself. As an admissions consultant here, I really enjoy interacting with students, helping them with the complete application process and guiding them for the visa procedure. Over to you, Priyasha.
Thank you for joining. My name is Priyasha, and I've been working with EduAmerica for past over 2 years now. And I did my bachelor's from Delhi University in psychology and philosophy. Then I did my master's from Amity University. And I have been working with students from past 2 years now, and I love interacting with them. It's good to be on the other side now, and I love to help you in the future as well. Thank you.
Okay, so before we get into like the format, I mean, I would just like to say a couple of things about the format of this webinar. We will be holding polls just to get an idea. We had this one poll where we saw that most of us are master's students, and we'll be having a poll, a couple of polls throughout the webinar as well. And we will also be having a kind of panel discussion between me and the counselors, Priyasha and Taran, where we feel that the students will benefit from trying to get an understanding of how other students in the past have benefited from guidance, and how they have understood how to finalize the university and so on. So the first question that comes into the picture is that why are we holding this webinar? There are many webinars that are there about applying to universities. There are many webinars about application strategy and so on. But we often found that the students are at this stage when the decisions are coming out, they are confused about the application process, and they have not got their decisions. And we will touch on those things a little bit later. But I would like to first, invite my teammates to talk about, what they feel about our reasons for the need for this webinar in the first place. Priyasha, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So we are doing this webinar to segregate the myths and facts regarding the US university that people have in their mind. Some of that whether we should choose public university or a private university. A lot of students face this issue, and a lot of students pay a lot of focus or attention to the location and the weather, which we will be able to address in the further slides to help you understand the pros and cons of those two factors. Over to you, Taran.
Yes, and we're also doing this webinar because we have seen students listening to their US-based relatives, and they sometimes feel that their relatives are making the right choice for them. However, that should not be the case. A very simple example that I would like to give it to you is that yesterday only, one of our students who we sent in spring 2023 to University of Bridgeport for MS in Computer Science, that student contacted us yesterday, and he mentioned that he would like to transfer to one university in either Florida or in Texas. Now, that is very difficult for any graduate student to do the transfer process, because most of the universities at a graduate level do not accept the credits that are transferred. Now, secondly, just because that student had great admits and he was a brilliant student, and he had great admits from a couple of Cal State universities, from UT Arlington. Hence, he chose to go to University of Bridgeport solely because his cousin brother was also going there. And now both of them are finding, Bridgeport's weather very, very cold. And that is the reason, one should do their own research before making a right choice for themselves. And secondly, we are also doing this webinar because a lot of you, and that's a very huge reason, that a lot of students listen to their friends over the counselors. For example, like students will come to us and say that, my friend is going to that X university, hence I would also like to go to the same university, even though the student has some, better university admits. Or, your friend might say that this city is not safe or the crime rate is very high, so don't go there. So you really need to do your own research. Now, we as counselors are in direct touch with the universities in each intake. We have university webinars every month where we get all the updates from the universities, like the programs, the cost, the tuition, the highlights of the university, location, jobs, etc. And you might find some information over the net, and internet is really not updated. So some things might work for somebody else and some things might not work for you. So we are going to go in depth in the further slides. And lastly, we are also doing this because many of our students don't actually get a chance to meet us physically. And actually, until the visa stage, most of the students do not get a chance to interact with us in a different setting. So this is a chance to meet and get to know us better virtually. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So this is, I think, a good understanding of why we decided that we needed this webinar. Um, the philosophy that we follow is that we think that there is no best university, only the best choice for you. And we want the students to have the right information so that they can make the best choice for themselves, right? We are here to give the students a framework so that they can make the decisions which will really benefit them in their future career. And it is a chance for, as Taran mentioned, it's a chance for the students to get to know their counselors and understand that we are here to help them. So, before we move on to the actual slide portion, remember we will have a Q&A session at the very end and polls throughout with discussion. So I'm launching another poll. It will show up on your screen very soon. You can again attempt that poll, and that will also give us an insight on what it is that you hope to gain from this session. There are multiple options over here. If you feel that you can mark more than one question, of course. You can mark more than one option, of course, but it will be beneficial for us to understand what it is that the students want to hear. Okay, about 2/3 of the people have so far responded. I'm just going to give it a little bit more time for the other students as well to respond. Okay, so it's been live for just about a minute, and I will end this poll and share the results with you guys. So mostly we have people who are, wanting to know how to finalize the university. Many people have half the people have suggested trying to understand how to manage the finances for their higher education, understanding the post-admit and visa process. We will be touching on that. We won't be going too deep into that, of course, but we will be touching on that as well. And we will have a session specifically for post-admit and visa as well. Universities that are still taking applications for this intake, very few people. That's good that people have already applied. Job opportunities, we'll definitely be talking about that as well. And of course, the separation of myths from the facts. So yeah, so this is basically the results of the first poll, of the second poll, I should say. And yeah, so now we have also been surveying our students informally, and we'll just be talking a little bit about the concerns that the students are facing. And I'll just start that now. So we conducted an informal survey of our students. We have been doing this for the past 2 to 3 weeks and actually about a month or so. And we understood that there are certain concerns that they have. And our insights are just in the following slides. So as it is March for the fall 2023 intake, the application process begins just about a year in advance. The universities start taking applications in August and September for the next intake, which is again August and September for the most part. The concerns that the students seem to be facing, of course, not getting decisions. 29% of them, a third of them almost, was concerned about that. Choosing among the admits is one of the major processes, one of the major factors that people are concerned about, and that is why we decided to keep this webinar, because choosing among the offers that you have received can be quite confusing. And our future slides will talk a little bit about how to look at the parameters and the information which is most relevant, right? The visa dates not opening, please don't worry about that. If you have a concern about the visa dates not opening, we will be talking about that a little bit more. There is a update where you can apply for the visa 365 days in advance. You don't have to wait until 120 days. The embassy has allowed students to apply for the visa 1 year in advance. So you should have no trouble once you decide to finalize your university to actually apply for a visa date. And this year, the consulate has repeatedly said that they will be at full strength. So they should be very easily able to accommodate everyone who wants a visa slot. Remember, our students have had difficulty in January for their visa dates sometimes, but we have had no students who have not been able to get a slot in any fall intake. So the factors that the students are considering most important while finalizing the university, it was almost a third, which is the program and the curriculum, the ranking and the prestige, and the cost and the finances. Very few people actually said location, and which is a good answer. However, this can vary again for the undergraduate students who are there, who are planning to spend 4 years of their bachelor's degree in the US. The location can be an important factor. While for the bachelors, it should not be as significant. And as for the reasons behind that, we will talk about that a little bit further. The other major topics which were there were how students plan to fund their education, which is mostly a mixture of all, seems to be the primary way. There will be some universities which are offer scholarships. Some people are planning to, about one third will be planning to take some kind of education loan. Family funding is there as a portion of it. And as expected, a mix of all is going to be the most common method. So the type of universities that students prefer, because as mentioned, we have students who have applied for public university as well as who have applied for private universities, public universities, anything, and depending on the program, they might decide, they might consider other factors, and so on and so forth. So this is like the insights that we found, and we'll just be talking like a little bit more about these particular factors and what is more important and what is less important, and how to sort of separate the myths from the facts, and how to do your own research and how to understand what would be the best choice for you. So since most of you have already applied for the universities, I'm going to launch another poll to ask which of you have finalized your universities for fall 2023. The options are basically yes, no, you're still confused, or maybe you're not even applying for fall 2023, you're applying for a later intake, right? As before, I'll just leave it for a period of about a minute so that everyone who wants to answer can answer. However, it's a very simple question, and we do have enough time. Okay, so about 88% have already answered. So I'm just going to take the chance to close this poll and share the results. 19%, about a fifth, have already decided which university they want to go. 16% have not decided, and the large majority is the people who are confused. And we hope that we can, clear some of that confusion and help you decide, or at least try to understand how you can decide what would be the best option for you. And we have a significant portion as well, about 19%, another fifth or so, who are applying for a later intake, right? So moving forward, before we try to understand how to finalize a university that you might have got admitted to, it's better to first ask the fundamental question of why do a master's, right? Or for that matter, why do a bachelor's, or do any degree that takes you abroad, right? For students who are planning to study abroad, is it exposure? Is it better opportunities? Is it getting an international experience? What are your goals? Understanding your goals are the most important part, so that you can make the best decision for yourself, right? And because our audience and the students that we work with predominantly happen to be graduate students, we do have the question of why do a master's in the first place, right? And the two major reasons why people do go for a master's degree is either upgrade or realignment. Now, upgrade is very straightforward. You want to, again, as all the things that I mentioned before, they come into the upgrade category as well. You want better exposure, you want you want a better salary, you want a better in-depth knowledge, you want better job opportunities after, you want to move to a different country. You think that there is certain kind of skill set that comes into the in your career which cannot be accomplished without a master's. What is it that you're looking for? If an upgrade is what you're looking for, then that is where the category lies in. The other is realignment. Now, this can be for someone who has perhaps done a course which they are not as interested in continuing, right? we have this whole stereotype of people who go from the IITs straight to the IIMs and then start working into a bank, right? People who will have done mechanical engineering and wanting to go into finance after completing an MBA at the IIMs, right? So similarly, in the US, there is a lot of scope for realignment and reorienting your career. If you have done some kind of field like that you're not that much interested in, a master's is a way for you to realign your career and actually go from one industry to another, one functionality to another, or even switch your career tracks completely. We have a student who has done something like mass communications and is applying for business analytics. We have students who have worked in civil engineer, who have done civil engineering and worked in the highway sector, wanting to go for an MBA. We have so many people who are wanting to do data science. And the idea is that you should know why it is that you're pursuing this degree. It should not just be because it is trendy. You should have a reason for trying to understand why this degree means something to you. And in the next slide, I have just put up a number of factors which come into the picture, where you have curriculum, you have flexibility, you have high visa acceptance, private university, public university, student faculty ratio, acceptance rate, weather, scholarships, and so on, right? So I'm just going to launch another poll asking you guys which factors are you considering while finalizing your universities? And you should be seeing that on your screen now. Again, as for this one, this is something which you can choose multiple. You don't just have to choose one option. You can choose multiple options as well. So if there are multiple options which you feel are relevant to your answer, please mark multiple answers. That is perfectly fine. I will give it a few more seconds because this is a longer question with multiple answers that people can consider. Okay, so I've just left it on screen for about a minute or so, slightly more than a minute. So I'm just going to end the poll and share the results. Okay, so again, many people have selected alignment of program. Cost seems to be a very major factor. 75%, 73% have selected that. Placement outcome, 64% have selected that. ROI seems to be a very important factor, which is 64%. Scholarship and world ranking seem to be at 45% as well. And the alignment of program at 55%. Not many people, not even a single person has selected friends, and just about 3% have selected family. And I definitely think that we have a very much better informed audience here today, because in our experience, I would like to invite Priyasha and Taran to just share a little bit more, because we have definitely seen that students are, taking advice not just from there are other factors that they're definitely considering.
This is actually quite surprising to me because, like you mentioned, that a lot of our students come to us and say that because my friend is going to that university, that is why I want to go to that university. And your friend might have.
Guys, these polls are anonymous. We don't know who has answered what. You can
Yeah,
answer your friends and
absolutely.
Yeah,
family.
you can say the right answer if you want. We will not judge you. It's okay.
There is no right answer. There's just whatever answer you want. Yeah, Taran, go on. Sorry.
I'm also surprised that only 55% chose alignment of program, whereas I was expecting that to be 100%. But we will go in depth once we start the slides.
Okay, so right, thank you. I'll just go on to the next slides, and we'll talk a little bit about the factors that come into the picture. So the ideal factors to consider. I mean, there's not just three of them. We will talk about more of them. As I mentioned before, we definitely believe that there is no best university. Every student has a different set of circumstances. And a university that might be right for one student may not be the best university for a different student. There's only the best fit. And what we're trying to do over here is trying to give you the guiding principles to make the right choice, right? So the most important factor that that comes into the picture is the alignment of the program with what you want to do. So the program that you are pursuing should take you closer to your goal. As I mentioned earlier, if the goal is upgrade, the program should take you closer to that. If the goal is realignment, the goal should take you the program should take you closer to that. Because, for example, I have had a student who has come to me with a bachelor's degree in economics, a master's degree in economics from India. And she, when asked, I said that, do you want, and she asked, for wanting to do more economics and further a second master's in economics. And when I asked her, like, what she wanted to do in her career, she said that I definitely don't want to do economics. So that is not like that. That is an indication of the information that students have sometimes, that perhaps if they have done psychology, they only can do more psychology, or if they have done a bachelor's in a certain field, they can only do a master's in a certain field. However, there is a lot more flexibility than you might think. And the main idea is that if there is a field or there an industry that you want to go into, if there is a work functionality that you want to go into, the program should be aligned with your interest. We have seen computer science, software engineering, data science being very trendy topics recently. And computer science has been around for 25 years, of course, as a tech hotspot. But data science and business analytics have come up recently. But whether they are the right choice for you, make sure you understand what the curriculum is going to be. Because again, there is a flexibility and specificity when it comes to a program. Some degrees, they narrow your options while upgrading your skills. For example, with a job with a master's degree in cybersecurity, you're almost guaranteed a job. Almost every cybersecurity degree will give you 100% placement with a starting salary of around $90,000 or more. But it will narrow your options because you will not also be able to apply for degrees for programs such as for job functionalities such as software developer or web developer. They will be looking mainly towards IT systems analyst or security analyst or cybersecurity positions. So some degrees can help switch the career tracks. For example, people who have done engineering can be much more readily accepted into other forms of engineering, I should say, not computing forms of engineering. People who have done engineering can switch into information technology much more easier than they would be able to switch into a pure computer science, because we have a lot of students who want to switch to computer science, but they would perhaps be better suited for software engineering or information technology. So the rule of thumb is that if you are sure about what you want to do, choose a course which is very specific and gets you closer to being an expert in that field. If you are not sure what you want to do, choose something with the greater flexibility so that you are able to apply for many different internships, many different options, and try to get closer to taking the next step in your career and trying to get to that one thing which you will do for the next 15 to 20 years. What are the career outcomes of the students that are finishing the course? How are they placed after 10 years? We're not asking for a period of about 1 year, 2 years, because there are many universities that will give you a good job. But the idea is that if you are taking a brand name, if you are taking a university that will help you start your career, it should be something that is benefiting you for a period of about 10 years at least, because the further you go into your career, the more likely it is that your education will not even be considered. They will actually look at more about what you have done in your previous position, and they will ask whether you are suited for that particular position, right? And if you look at the placement and career outcomes, try to connect with the students who are doing this particular course, who have completed this course. Approach them on LinkedIn, whatever it is that you want to do. Try to look at the placement and the career outcomes. And again, this aligns with your program as well. So alignment of program and the outcome that the program takes you to is the most important thing. All these three things are related to the course of study. Not even one of them have to do with the university that you're finalizing. Which brings us to some more factors that come into the picture. Value, as I mentioned, answering the question of value is also something that students can do. But the idea is that only when they know what it is that they're looking for from the university, or what they're looking for from the course, is when they can decide what a good value is. There can be students for whom the international exposure is the only metric that they want. They want to work for, they want to go to the US, and they have to come back to India because of family commitments, perhaps because of the fact that they have a business over here that they want to start. Perhaps they know for a fact that they would prefer to live closer to home. That's perfectly fine. Return on investment can mean many things for different people. Pure cost, as the students, as was mentioned, is should not be as much of a factor, because until and unless you know that until and unless you feel that the degree is not worth it, it will be impossible for you to repay the value of that degree in whatever form. Only then you should take the pure cost, because if you're getting a better university for a for a higher cost, it makes sense to first consider the value and the return on investment that you're getting from that degree. Obviously, cost and scholarships come hand in hand. A scholarship can reduce the cost of your study, but one of the things that a scholarship does, which many students overlook sometimes, is that you can include this on your resume. You can include this as part of something that will help you stand out amongst your peers, because we know how competitive the job market is, and how these universities, which are have class sizes of 100, 150, 200 people, everyone graduating at with a similar kind of marks. A scholarship can really help you stand out amongst your peers and really get those good internships and those good career options. The program rankings, right? So now, while rankings can by themselves can be often misleading, the ranking of the program that you're pursuing can be a useful metric. So, for example, many people consult the QS World Rankings. These are the rankings of the universities all over the world, done by QS, a company that does the topuniversities.com website, and there is the US News, which does the various national university rankings and program specific rankings as well. So try to find out a ranking that actually measures what it is that you're trying to get, because ranking can often be misleading and may not actually give you the kind of information that will be relevant to you, right? If there is someone who is not interested in research, the academic ranking of world universities will not be a very relevant ranking, because it focuses completely heavily on research. If there is a ranking that is based on output of professors, that may not be something that will be very valuable to you as well, right? So the program rankings are something that should definitely be considered by the students. Now, within that, we will talk a little bit more about what the misconceptions about the rankings can be in a future slide. But for those planning to go to the US, STEM OPT is highly, highly important. Most of the students know about the fact that you can work for a period of 36 months from a STEM designated degree. And otherwise, you're allowed to work only for a period of 12 months. And if you work for a period of 36 months, that is enough for students frequently to either recoup the value of their cost that they have put in, or even definitely exceed any kind of the money that they might have put into their education, and get a good experience, and further apply for jobs and H-1B visa, or any kind of other opportunities that they're interested in. Another factor which students sometimes don't look at as much is the student faculty ratio, which is that a smaller class size is highly beneficial for personal attention, networking, and on campus opportunities, because it allows you to connect with the professors. And again, the less internal competition can make it much easier for students to get a job after finishing their degrees, because any company does not want to hire too many people from the same university. They want to hire a few people they want to spread out their hiring, so that they're able to do that. They're able to have a more diverse workforce. Career support, of course. If a university has a strong career center and helps students apply for internships and jobs, this can be something that is highly, highly beneficial for the students and help them understand. So before going to the US, before finalizing your university, definitely look at what kind of career support services it offers, and try to connect with the students who perhaps might be studying over there. Remember that the US is not a spoon feeding oriented culture. There is no placement the way it is there in India, where companies will come to campus and make you all sit and You will have, structured interviews and everything. It's a lot more hustle oriented. You have to go out and make your own opportunities. But a strong career center can help you align your resume to the American standard and help you secure an internship and, of course, a future job. So if you have not seen the factor that you have chosen throughout, that's because it is actually a factor that is not as relevant for most of the students when they're attending these universities. So sorry, I skipped a slide. Location and weather, especially for students who are planning to do a master's, can be something that can be a discomfort for a period of about a month or a month and a half, maybe 2 months. But you will be able to clear that weather very soon, and you will only spend one winter there for a period of about 2 months to 3 months, and after that you are welcome to look for a job in a climate that is much more suited to you, right? Um, National and world rankings. So there is a huge misconception among the students that the rankings have a huge role to play in what kind of the career they're going to have or what kind of university is suitable for them. Honestly speaking, the national and the world universities really don't matter, because if you have, there are certain tiers of universities in the US. For example, if you are trying to compare two universities that are can be considered comparable, for example, University of California at Berkeley versus University of California at LA versus University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, or you are trying to compare Harvard versus Princeton, that still makes sense. But trying to compare universities that are one where is ranked 20 and one is ranked 120, that does not make any sense. Universities that are ranked 20 and 25, they're pretty much the same in terms of rankings. Universities that are ranked 70 and 90 are probably the same as well. So the national and the world rankings really do not have an impact on future career. They don't have an impact on any kind of experience that the students are going to have. And more importantly, the national university rankings of the US News are undergraduate only. They do not even they do not even take a single factor which is actually beneficial for a graduate student. They do not take into account job placement of graduate students. So just look at the program rankings if you want to look at them. And even then, a few rankings up or a few rankings down is not going to have a huge impact. And definitely do not consider the world rankings, because, in terms of beyond the first 50 to 100, it does not really make any difference. And even if you have a university which is 50 versus a university which is 60, if you ask 10 people in the US, some will say one university is better, some will say another university is better. The other thing is public universities. There is no reason to prefer public universities over private universities. The US has a rich history of institutions which are more than 200 years old and that are private institutions, and they offer quality education at varying price points. And many students who prefer public universities due to the cost factor can be something that they take into account. But there can be public universities that are very expensive as well. And private universities are the ones that actually have a lot of scholarships and a lot of funding to offer. Of course, very smartly, no one picked friends and family, but your friends and family are not really the best source of advice. They will want what is best for you, of course, but their experiences are quite limited. They are limited to the kind of experiences and exposure that they have had, which may be relevant to, again, what your experience is going to be in the future. Your friend's advice will be colored by their experiences, so do your own research. The internet and forums and social media. We are a member of many WhatsApp groups, and so is the US Embassy, and so is many US universities. So whatever you are sharing over there, please be aware that it's not just set out into the world. There are people who are looking at it. It is full of misinformation. We have heard so many things that are absolutely incorrect that comes on social media and forums. Neither is a really good decision making resource. And of course, as Taran mentioned, the US based relatives. These are people who are full of expert advice. Maybe they went to the US when everything was completely different, and they're full of expert advice, which is basically not very relevant and can offer some kind of insight sometimes, but mostly they will be not the best resource for trying to understand what will be the best option for you. You need to first, the main thing that students need to know is why they are doing this degree and what is more important for them. And that will really help them try to understand. So as we work with the students throughout the admission cycle, we have come across many myths and misinformation that is prevalent in the student community. And for that, again, I would like to invite my colleagues, Priyasha and Taran, to share their insights.
Yes. So the first one definitely I would like to address is private versus public. That a lot of students come to us and say that we only want, university list for public universities because they feel that public universities are better than private universities. And I really want to tell to all of you today is that all Ivy League colleges are private. There is no better university. It is what the right university is for you, right? So you really need to break this myth about public universities are better than the private universities. In fact, some students feel that public universities are inexpensive and private universities are more expensive. A very small example, New Jersey Institute of Technology, NJIT, is a public university. Its total program cost is approximate $55,000 if I'm not wrong, whereas Clark University, which is a private university, after scholarship, the cost really comes down to $32,000 to $35,000. So there's a complete $20,000 difference. So it's not really this public university is better or the private university is better. It's just what is the right university for you, right? And for all of you, like private universities have better industry tie-ups and they have small class size and they have more personalized sessions. So you can actually, maintain a relationship with your professor and start your networking early. Second one, rankings, QS rankings. I think Yash has very well addressed that. And I would also like to emphasize more on that, is that until and unless the universities are not in the top 20 or the top 50, it really does not have a major impact. And rankings by itself are also not really useful. And just like more than ranking, you should look at the curriculum. And only if you enjoy the curriculum, only if you're going to enjoy the program, you think that that program aligns with your area of interest, you are going to perform well. No matter how well ranked university you go to, for a brand name you go to, but if you're not going to perform well, you're not going to get hired probably. So it really matters how your performance is at the university, and that solely depends on the program. Another myth that a lot of students have is that safety. So firstly, I would like to tell all of you that most of the college campuses are very, very safe. So if you go to any big city, including Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, or Paris, or London for that matter, there will always be areas which are unsafe and which are safe. So crimes are going to be everywhere. And as a student, it is, you should know that there are bad areas and there are good areas in every city. If you're from Hyderabad or if you're from Delhi, you know what the good areas are and what the bad areas are. So similarly, when you will be in US, you will know about the surroundings. For example, one of my students the other day told me that his friend has suggested that he should not go to Chicago as the crime rates are very high. Chicago is a very huge city and all its university campuses are very, very safe. So as a student, it is your responsibility that you should not be roaming around in the bad areas. Prasha.
Sure. You should apply to one university and then switch to the later university. We would not recommend doing this because some students, what they do, they take offer and request I-20 from a good ranking university. Like any student would do that. And once they're in the US, they change the university. I know it's looking very fancy that once you reach there, you change your university, but the process is not that easy. You have to understand that the all universities don't take the credit transfers. For example, you have to be in that university at least for 6 months. Like you have to complete one semester, and then you have to speak to your admissions counselor there in the university, understand the courses you want to apply to the next university, and the courses sometimes are not being transferred. So tuition money that you have deposited in the university is a total waste. I don't want to mention that, but it is. So make sure that you should go to the university you really want to. I know sometimes we don't get the offer letter from the university that we apply to and we get disheartened. That's completely okay. And that's very natural for any student. What we can recommend that you can wait for another intake. upgrade your profile, take a good GRE score, get a better IELTS score, get some work experience, and then apply to the university you really wish to apply to. And a visa interview is just a formality for the students. In our previous intakes, we have seen our students being really arrogant about some of the visa questions, and they said, "We are aware of this answer. We will be very friendly and we will be okay with that question." We would not recommend that. So, what we have seen that some students, as I mentioned earlier, request I-20 from a high-ranking university, get visa on that particular application or that particular university, then change the university in the US. Okay, and also request the I-20 from that university. We would not recommend or encourage this practice because it really affects your university decision, and the process is not that easy. Some of the questions that we have seen is like which council we should book for a visa interview because there are high expectance visa rates. There is not such a concept of high visa acceptance rate. We have seen like rejections can happen in any consulate, so we would not recommend just going but with one consulate because your friend have recommended you or you've seen that they are much high acceptance rate. We would encourage you to book as soon as you see a visa date on your screen, just book that. Then, if you get an opportunity, you can reschedule it because of any medical emergency, or you want to reschedule it because you have a different meeting or something like that. But focusing on that particular consulate, we would not recommend that. And also, students do refer to Telegram groups, YouTube videos, and the content for visa on YouTube and Google. Please don't refer that. I know the information on Google is widely there, but it is not updated as Sarah mentioned earlier, and every student's profile is very different. One answer might be suitable for one applicant, but it might not be suitable for you. The funding plan for your application would be very different. The funding plan for your friend would be very different. And the way of delivering the answers and the way of style the questions would be very different for your application of one applicant as compared to the other applicant. So we would recommend you to focus on your profile and take the visa as an important part because you have come this way after getting all your struggles with the exams and your papers and your application process. Don't take the visa process very lightly. At any point you feel you're stuck, please get in touch with us. Thank you.
Okay, so I think the only one point which I need to touch on is that some of the little bit recently I have seen the trend that some students are planning to apply for fall 2024 and or even spring 2024, perhaps because they think that the economic conditions would mean that it's better. I will just address that a little bit later in another slide. But in the meantime, we have another poll coming up, which is what to do if you haven't got any admits, right? First of all, don't panic. Consider applying to some safer options while you're waiting for your decisions. And yeah, I mean, we have launched another poll just to see what everyone is doing for those who are still planning on for this particular intake. I mean, of course, this is only going to be relevant to those people who have applied for this particular intake and decided. Okay, so I've just entered the poll and I'll just share the results. We have about 14 people who are panicking, 14% of people, sorry, who are panicking. And we have 76% of people, that is about three-fourths mostly, who are still hoping for admits. And a very few, small number of people are thinking of deferring. Now I know how well the student community is connected with each other. That's why I thought I would be addressing a little bit about what would be the challenges uh, of people who have not gotten admits yet. But Priyashantaran, do you have any kind of insights about people, what they should do for those who have not gotten any admits yet or have got lots of rejections?
Maybe they can wait because some universities are still raising the decision, so they can wait for another month or so. And if you receive a lot of rejections, then I would recommend you to just peep into your profile, see what are the negative application things that are bothering in your application, sorry, And if you have a low GI score, you haven't taken a GRE, then we would recommend you to give GRE. If your English score is less, then you can give a different English score, because obviously you can't change your GPA. The only 2 to 3 factors that you can change in your CV or in your current process is IELTS, TOEFL score, GRE score, and the work experience, and doing some research work. So you can focus on these 3 or 4 factors, then you can consider for the next intake.
I would like to very briefly mention this, that all students should really understand that any one university is not getting applications from India itself. They're getting applications from all over the world. So if any university is taking time to release decisions, it's because they have received thousands of applications from all over the world, right? And also universities, like the faculty or the department, they do not evaluate the applications every single day. It'll probably like once in a week or twice in a week that they are evaluating your applications and releasing the decisions. And you really need to be patient, and you really need to calm yourself that eventually the decision is going to come, but stay calm during that period.
So thank you. And deferral was actually not a very popular option, but still there are some challenges that come into the picture if there are people who are planning to defer. And like the first and most obvious one is that the university that you have received an offer from may not defer your offer, right? This is for students who have gotten an offer and are thinking of planning to go in a next intake because of economic conditions in the US or anything like that. You would, if you're planning to go for December and January, visa rates are far fewer. Priyasha and Taran and I can tell you the number of times that we have had students who have not been able to go in January simply because they were not able to get a visa date. And you only gain 4 to 5 months of work experience. Your scholarship may not carry to the next intake because the entire application process is pretty much fresh, and each intake gets more competitive. We had a student who was admitted to NYU in the January intake, but was not able to go because of visa issues. And this time in fall 23, when the same student applied for the same program, that student got a denial because NYU does not do deferrals and you have to apply for the same intake again. So the rumors of a recession, which you might be hearing in the US news, like layoffs and tech sector and this and that, are actually far overblown. Most of the layoffs that are happening are in non-core areas like administrative and supporting roles. So for the people who are planning to pursue tech-oriented jobs or business-oriented jobs, you can be sure that there is going to be a lot more opportunities. And the other thing is that there is no way to predict what is going to happen. In 2020, we had no idea what the next 1 or 2 years is going to bring. And just like now, the best idea is for you to go ahead and do the application process, get your offers in place, and take the step as soon as you can. Remember that an MS for students who are planning to go for a Master of Science or like a technical degree is not an MBA. A year of work experience will not be something that compensates for a GPA or a certain amount of marks being lesser, because until and unless you have really improved your GRE score, your profile is not going to materially change between 1 year and the next. Which brings us to the question of finances, which is that you should plan to fund your education for at least a period of 18 months for the master students. For the bachelor student, of course, you need to have a plan for the entire 4 year duration of study. The I-20 cost is for a period of 9 months, typically, which is the academic year. But these are usually a lot higher than the actual cost that you will come into. So if there's going to be a student who is planning for these universities, make sure that you are, for bachelor's, trying to take into account your living expenses for about a 9 month period of time for a period of 4 years, and also trying to keep in mind that you will be able to get some kind of internships or some kind of on-campus jobs, but these are not guaranteed, right? They are available for the students. They are not guaranteed. So please don't think that you will be able to manage without them. So you should be able to manage without them. Do not base your funding plan on getting an on-campus job or an internship. 20 cost that you have to show is high, but that's because the embassy wants to make sure that you're able to fund your studies and you're not left in the middle with economic hardships. Most of the students are eligible for non-collateral loans, and they are available to they are able to take loans from India itself. We do have tie-ups with a number of financial services providers as well as bank who can actually give you the uh, non-collateral loans or collateral loans at varying interest rates. And we can definitely, as we mentioned, with the ROI of the US being very, very good, you can actually consider applying for a loan to fund your studies and very properly pay that back. Um, Showing some family funding during the visa process is to your benefit. A pure loan can be sometimes detrimental to the visa acceptance. And as I mentioned earlier, we will talk a little bit about the visa. The detailed pre-departure and visa session is going to happen on the 6th of May. Please follow us on Instagram, and if you have registered for today's session, then we will be having your email addresses, and of course, we will be emailing you an invite for the 6th of May visa session. We will be holding that for students trying to understand the pre-departure and the visa process. But just a little bit on that, which is that students can now apply 1 year in advance, 365 days. You know, you have this time to, if you have finalized your university, to finalize your living arrangements, connect with the incoming students who will be doing this course with you, so you can get housing arrangements perhaps with them. Definitely connect with your advisor, and there can be two different advisors. One can be your international advisor and one can be your academic advisor. These might be two different people. So if you are planning to go to the US, try to connect with your academic advisor or your international advisor, because they will be the best resource who will be able to inform you about the registration of the classes, the course curriculum, uh, the pre-arrival information that you need to know, and of course, you need to have at least one contact person, so that in case there's any difficulties while you're entering the country, you have someone at the university that you can contact, at least a phone number and an email address. Talk to us. We are definitely here to help you throughout the visa process, from planning your finances to trying to interpret what would be the best strategy for you to take in terms of university, in terms of pre-departure. We don't have all the answers, but we can definitely help you get to some of them. If there are students who haven't applied yet so far in for 2023, the clock is ticking. Get in touch with us. There are still universities that are taking applications. If you have got rejections, you will be able to definitely apply for some safer options this time. But honestly, each situation is completely different, and we cannot really say that every student will have the same answer. But if you haven't applied yet, there might still be time. Get in touch with us, and we would be happy to help you out. So we are now open for questions. Thank you so much for your time so far and listening to us and trying to get an idea of what we have to say. Priyasha and Taran will be taking questions now for any student. Please put your questions in the Q&A box because that is much easier for us to monitor. The chat box is not as easy for us to monitor. We have put our contact information over here, which is our website and our email address, multiple phone numbers. We have our Instagram account as well, eduamerica.nd. So if you want to apply for if you want to get in touch with us for the application process, for getting in touch with us for any other visa process, we can help you with that as well. So I'll just start on the questions and reading them out, and we will take that forward from here. Okay, so again, we have a student who has typed the question, can we apply for a visa with the current I-20, which I got, and later before going to interview, can I update my I-20, which I wanted to go, since the university that they want to go to is in waiting stage?
You can do that, to be very honest. I mean, until unless you are waiting to hear from that university and you're worried about whether your visa slot whether you'll be able to book the visa slot on time or not. And once you get the I-20 from your dream university, then you can change your university.
But they should apply for the visa from the university that they actually want to attend,
Yes,
right?
yes, that is highly recommended. Yes.
Is GRE compulsory for admission?
GRE is not compulsory, but we would really recommend our students to give GRE. It was waived off earlier due to COVID, but now universities are still not, some universities are now taking GRE, but there are some universities who have requested for GRE. But in the later stage, they will request for GRE. So it's better for you to upgrade your profile, and we would really recommend you to give GRE.
Related question for someone who is wanting to do construction management in the US, is GRE necessary and they want to go in January 2024?
Yes, for construction management, most of the universities do require GRE, and you should really consider giving GRE and getting a decent score. Like a score below 300 would really not be that helpful, but a decent score would have you with a decent score you will have a lot of options to apply, and without a GRE score you will have only limited options, and where GRE is required you will not be eligible to apply. So you
Okay.
should basically consider giving GRE.
If I don't get a visa, will I lose my acceptance? I'm assuming this means from the university. Will they lose their acceptance from the university?
You can request the university by dropping them a mail that unfortunately you were not able to secure a visa date, and if they could defer your decision or not. And university will have to see if they can defer your decision or not. Else you have to apply again. And if you have received the scholarship with the current offer, maybe your decision would have been transferred, but scholarship would not transfer. So you have to check with the university.
Yeah, and to add to that, most of the universities also do not defer. So you need to contact your university if that scenario happens. But if you already have the I-20, then you should be able to get the slot.
So there's a student who's gotten an admit from UT Arlington, but they have not sent the financial documentation. How do they do that?
So
You
for
can get it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so you can go.
Okay, so you want to apply for the financial, you can get in touch with us. We can help you finalize your financial documentations, and we can help you how to get the I-20 from University of Texas Arlington.
So there are a few questions over here who are asking, is this university better versus this university versus this university? Remember, as I mentioned before, it's very difficult for us to answer this question. The whole reason why we had this presentation is so that we can try to tell you that there are factors that come into the picture for everyone. It might be different for everyone. So for anyone who's trying to understand which university is better for them, please get in touch with us, and we can try to help you make that decision. But hopefully this webinar was helpful somewhat in helping you understand that. There is someone who is wanting to apply for a summer intake. Is that still possible?
It would not be possible since summer intake usually starts in the month of June, July. And right now, most of the universities are also closed for summer. And summer intakes are usually very, very small, and not all universities offer all programs in the summer. So summer 2023 is basically closed, so you would not be able to apply. However, fall 2023 is still open for some universities, depending on the program that you want to study. And you can get in touch with us, and we would be able to help you with that.
I have posted the email address that where we take the inquiries, as well as the primary phone number in the chat box as well. So please take that into account. There are a couple of questions about a profile, and they have given their entire profile. Again, please get in touch with us. If you have given your profile and want to know which universities are suitable for you, please get in touch with us. We cannot really answer this question without having more information and documentation. We would definitely take some time to look at your profile and give you an idea. There's a question that is undergrad oriented. Would you recommend taking the APs? I'll just take that myself, which is that I would recommend taking the APs because these days the SAT is optional, and the ACT is also optional. So if you have a low ACT score, if you have a low SAT score, you will be able to get some extra weightage in your admissions decision. It shows that you're capable of doing college level work at the high school level. It helps you stand out amongst your peers, and also you are able to skip some of the courses that takes into account the uh, initial courses like introduction to physics or calculus, and save some money because those credits are actually taken care of with the AP. There's another student who's asking, my tourist visa has been rejected 4 times before this. So what are the chances of F1?
I believe we have to talk in person to understand what were the reasons for your rejection for your tourist visa, and we would have to see how you have filled your DS-160, because some students carelessly fill the DS-160, which can also lead to a visa rejection. So for that, please get in touch with us. We will see the DS-160, and you will get to know about your background also.
Please provide some information on visa slot availability. They have not been successful so far in getting a visa slot.
Visa slots right now are not really open. Even if you have an I-20 and you have made $160 visa fee payment, you will not be able to see your slots right now because simply they're not open. There were 2 weeks back, random slots were opening in the month of April, which students who had a prior I-20 from spring intake were able to book it. And right now, students who have I-20 for the fall 2023, do not worry about it because the slots are going to open in huge numbers in the month of June, July, and August. So you will be fine.
Does a university having a rank between 100 to 150, is it also good?
I'm not able to answer this question, like, because I have to understand for which program the student is applying and under what factor he's counting the rankings, like 100 to 150 based on the QS rankings, the program rankings. You have to be a little bit specific, if I'm not wrong.
Exactly, because this is someone who has seen our presentation and asked the one question which we tried to explain why ranking by itself is not very useful, but okay. I thought I would just ask the question anyway. Another ranking related question. I'm targeting 2 universities with rank of 250 and 450 worldwide. Does it make sense to compare them?
I don't think so.
Yes, it does not make sense to compare them.
We gave you full a page of the QS rankings, whether to consider or not. I think you would be able to understand after the presentation on the webinar.
To give you another example, like none of the Indian universities are very highly ranked on any of them, but India produces a lot of talented people who do great things in the Indian sector as well as the tech sector abroad. So rankings by itself is not very helpful. So which universities or a few universities are still open? I'm guessing this is a question. So yeah, which universities are still open? Are there still universities taking applications for fall 2023?
There are still universities which are open for fall 2023. Obviously, it varies from program to program. And please get in touch with us. We would be happy to help you with complete profile evaluation and the application process.
Okay, so again, I have one last question over here, which I'm not going to again bring up, but basically, there's a student who's asking about many different has given a very detailed profile. But for those who have given a very detailed profile and are comparing different universities, and we need us to help, allow us some time. We'll be definitely very ready to help you. But for that, we'll probably ask you some few questions as well. So I have put on our email address and our phone number, and we can definitely get in touch. You can definitely get in touch with us, and we would be able to address those queries. I don't have any further questions. So, okay, so that is pretty much it. I hope everyone had a good experience in terms of getting information about what universities, how to finalize the university for them. I would like to thank you for taking your time out from your Sunday to attend this webinar. I would like to thank my teammates for taking time out from their Sunday to address these queries. Again, I understand that we will not be able to answer every question to all the best that was the satisfaction of everyone here, but we have you will be getting follow-up emails from us. You will be on our mailing list as well. So we would be very happy if you reach out to us, and we will see what we can do for you. Thank you, everyone, and have a good weekend. What's left of it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.